something that is very weird with this series, but I think actually adds a lot to it, which I could assume many people might think things like seeing Hiro just point his fingers and say bang, or in this episode actually imitate a machine gun, it does come across as silly. But then when you see how much bloodshed and destruction that he's able to do with thin air, not actually having a weapon, I actually think the way this anime goes the route of making some aspects of the show seem almost ridiculous to the max, it actually makes Hiro more terrifying than I think a lot of anime villains would be if it was just a normal kid with a machine gun. I think him just having nothing in his arms, imitating the gun, shows not only just how insane he is compared to the rest of the world, but also kind of reinforces the idea that he is just a kid who obviously hasn't had the proper parenting that he needed, because obviously, even though it wasn't his parents' fault, I mean, obviously his parents had issues, but you can never truly predict what someone can become if they are left with their own mind, but still, it's clear he is unhinged, and just the way the anime goes around, especially in that media scene, when he's just going bang bang, and then he's imitating a machine gun, and his father is just begging for his life. At some points, I'm watching it thinking, this is just ridiculous. Like, it's almost comedic how much he's just saying bang and ga 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 ga. Like, it's just ridiculous. But then you see the bloodshed and you're like, this is terrifying. And I think the way it contrasts one another, it actually makes the scenes more terrifying if Hiro was just a guy with a machine gun. And I think it's frickin' brilliant. And this week's episode kind of went the route of dealing with the internet troll culture and doing 2chan instead of 4chan. And they did go definitely more ridiculous in certain aspects, really playing onto the trope that a lot of these people on 4chan trolling away are just fat guys living in their mother's basement or in their mother's spare room, things like that. But still, I think the way they went a route of really kind of the messages people were leaving for his mother and his parents saying, oh, the mother should kill herself, and just all the harassing messages and just the judging of people online, from hardcore 2chan trolls to just normal, probably everyday Facebook users. I thought they actually portrayed the internet trolling culture and the judgmental culture very, very well. Like, if this was a real scene, I feel like a lot of the messages the anime was presenting to us is what we would typically see. We would see the people on the darker side of the internet telling the mother that she should kill herself. Then we would see the people on Facebook, on Twitter, on Reddit just saying, oh, the parents obviously failed their kid. They are just horrible. Where were the parents in all this? And it's all the typical stuff you would expect, but I just felt like the way they actually portrayed that was very, very well done. I think the way to make Inuyashiki truly work, which I currently think it has done in the past 6 episodes, is you have to make it feel in some ways grounded, and I think when they have aspects like literally internet culture trolling people did escalate certain aspects, like the first person that Hiro killed, who pretty much said, bring it, I don't care if you're gonna try to kill me, I'll defend myself. And I think they have this like really interesting balance of how they can amplify it to make it even more intense and insane because it is anime, but at the same time make it feel grounded even with all these supernatural elements at play. And at the end of the day, no one should be killed unless it was gone through a multitude of courts and in that said country it was legal to have the death penalty. Even though most of these trolls, you might say, well, they all were assholes tormenting, so should I really feel sad for them? And I don't really think it's about, are we supposed to feel bad for the people getting killed that were trolling and harassing innocent people online like Hiro's mother, who did nothing wrong technically. But at the end of the day, it's kind of the route of it's trying to make us, the viewer, feel like even though some of these people are despicable, we can't say it's okay for Hiro to kill them and then say, oh no, he can't kill those people because we didn't see them doing anything wrong. Because at the end of the day, no person is perfect. Some people are going to have a complete asshole side that, like probably the businessman who got killed going to the subway. He probably was normal elsewise, but was just a sick bastard online because maybe his boss is a dick and he needed to relieve some stress. Everyone isn't a perfect angel 100% of the time, but at the same time, try to keep us on Inuyashiki's side where we don't want people to die because killing people isn't right. That is one of the basic human rights that we have. Everyone has the right to live. That is a human right. And I find it so interesting how each episode, it has a new way to present these ideas. And it's actually fairly interesting that Hiro's been a very major focus in the past few episodes and not really Inuyashiki, but I still feel like we're getting enough time for both of them. It's just been switching sides off and on. And I really just enjoy how Hiro broke, because I do still believe that he wanted to change, but after being thrown away by the media and the police and then having his mother commit suicide, he lost the thing that kept him grounded and was going to make him change, so of course he goes on a rampage, and I thought the way they did that was brilliant. But even with all the serious stuff and kind of the disturbing stuff in this episode, there was a couple of comedic moments with Inuyashiki, which I quite liked with Hiro's friend, essentially because he was hanging out with Hiro for a while, so he understands how their bodies works in some way, shape, and form. So they implant the phone into his head, and I love how they use his fingernail and they plug in the USB. It was just such a silly thing, but it was actually kind of cool in its own way. To how he flies into outer space and that astronaut is just looking at him. I gotta be dreaming right now, because there's no way I'm in space seeing a old man with a jetpack on right now. I just thought that was hilarious. So even though there was those darker things within this episode, it did have some lighthearted moments near the beginning that did help even it out, at least for myself. And for the most part, I have been okay with the 3D that has been implemented with Inuyashiki. I've actually thought it worked quite well. This episode, I thought some of the hero facial animations, when they were going more 3D, it did look a little weird this time. It did seem a bit more noticeable than it has in past episodes, but that doesn't change the fact that I actually thoroughly enjoy this episode, and it's just impressive that each week, even though it's more or less the same ideas, it's interesting how they can keep this show feeling refreshing, and it's not feeling like anything is being dragged out or it's going by too quick. It feels like this is the proper pace the show needs to be, and I'm having a blast with it. I'm very excited to see how this is going to go going forward. I thought they did a good balance of introducing some new elements mixed with some old elements. I just can't wait to see where episode 7 is going to go, but let me know your thoughts. What did you think of this episode, and how excited are you for next week's episode? Let me know, and before you leave, smack that like button, share your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.